Hi girls, how are you? I hope you guys are doing well. What are you guys up to? I hope you're having a good week so far and keeping busy and enjoying the sunshine from inside your house. So what we're going to do first today is I have some transformations for you to practice for the B2 exam. So even though probably not in June, there probably won't be any exams in June, but definitely there will be exams probably over the summer again, slowly, and then back in the fall and winter again. So we're still going to practice as normal for the exam because there are going to be times to do the exam, okay? So don't feel demotivated. We're still going to practice for the exam the same as usual, okay? So I have 2 pieces of paper. Each piece of paper has 3 transformations on it, okay? So when I show you the transformation paper, I want you to write in your notebook and complete the transformations, and then we'll do them together, okay? So here's the first one. Okay, this is all based on conditionals, what we were studying in the last class. So here are the transformations. Pause the video and complete the transformation. Okay, so that was the first paper. Now here's the second paper. Do the same. Pause the video and complete the transformations. Okay, so now that you've done that, we're going to do it together on the board. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm going to use a blue pen. Okay, so for number 1, it says, paying in cash entitles you to a special discount, and you need to use the word provided. You are entitled to a special discount provided, can you see that? Yeah, provided or provided that. Doesn't matter, it's the same. You pay in cash, okay? Number 2, I won't organize the party unless you arrange the food. Long. I'll organize the party as long as you arrange the food. Or you can say so long as, okay? These are interchangeable. They mean the same thing, okay? Number 3, I think it would be a good idea to speak to the manager first. Were. If I were you, I would speak to the manager first. Or you can say I'd, okay? You can always make any words into contractions. Just remember that a contraction counts as 2 words, okay? So if I were you, I would speak to the manager first. Okay, so let's have a look at the second lot of transformations. Number 4, if you do the washing up, I'll make the coffee. Provided, okay, so we've just done this, so you probably know what to do. I'll make the coffee provided or provided that you do the washing up. Okay, the washing up is when you wash the plates and dishes and everything, okay? Number 5, I've been so happy since I met you. Might. I don't remember what this one was. I think it was, I might not have been, yeah. Sorry, I remember now. I might not have been. I might not have been so happy if I hadn't met you. Okay, so this is the third conditional. Okay, I might not have been so happy. You don't always need to use would or wouldn't. Remember, you can use any modal as well, like should, could, may, might, things like this. And number 6, you're tired because you keep staying up late. Definitely. With went. If you, can you see that? Sorry, shouldn't be using this marker on the paper, but whatever. If you went, so the second conditional, if you went to bed earlier, you wouldn't be so tired. Okay, guys? So those were our transformations for today. If you have any questions about anything in the transformations, as usual, write to me on WhatsApp and I'll try to help you the best I can. Okay, so what we're going to do today is have a look in your book. on page 66. So I have not got the book. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it home, but I've got it on the internet, so it's on here, okay? Let's see. Page, oh no, that's 98. Let's look at page 66. Bear with me, I'm looking for the page. Okay, so on page 66, okay, on page 66, you have got different types of science vocabulary. Okay, so we're talking about science and technology in Unit 8, and this is just a continuation of that. So look at number 1. It says science vocabulary. Test your knowledge of science by filling in the gaps with these words. Okay, so you've got a science quiz and you've got some vocabulary words here. I'm going to read the vocabulary words to you, and I think you are going to know most of them, but I want you guys to practice my pronunciation. So when I say the word, I want you to copy me, okay? The first word is atom, atom, breakthrough, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, cell, discovery, element, energy, experiments, gas, invention, laboratories or laboratories, there's 2 ways to say them, liquid, living, oxygen, solid, substances, and test tubes. Okay, so I hope you copied my pronunciation and intonation. And now, in this part here, I want you guys to complete the quiz. So pause the video now and complete the quiz, and then we'll do it together. Okay, so I assume that you've finished and you've paused the video and you've done the quiz. Now we are going to do it together. Number 1, biology is the study of living things. I'm only going to say the word. I don't think it's necessary to write it, but if you're watching this video and you didn't really understand what I said and you didn't know which word it was, please write to me, and from this point onwards, I can write them on the board, okay? But for now, I'm only going to say them. But if you have a problem with it, tell me, please, okay? Number 2, chemistry is the study of substances and how they react or combine with each other. Number 3, physics is the study of matter and energy and their effect on one another. Number 4, oil is a liquid, steam is a gas, and copper is a solid. Number 5, people breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Cars give off carbon monoxide, which is really poisonous, okay? I don't know if you have this in Spain, but in the UK and in the US, a lot of the times, we have a small device that's like an alarm that if there is carbon monoxide in the air, the alarm goes boo, 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 because you can't smell carbon monoxide. It's like a silent killer. It's a silent poisonous gas. Not silent, but it's not detectable. So we have an alarm that helps us with that. Do you have the same in Spain? How about look at number 6, okay? Scientists working in laboratories or laboratories often use glass test tubes to carry out or do experiments. Good. Number 7, an atom is the smallest unit that an element can be divided into. And a cell is the smallest unit of a plant or animal. I didn't know that. I'm not very scientific, to be fair, but I hope you know something about science or this makes sense to you, okay? And number 8, the discovery of electricity, which led to the invention of the light bulb, was a huge breakthrough in scientific knowledge. So a breakthrough is like a new discovery. If you are having problems, for example, now scientists are looking for the vaccine for the coronavirus, okay? They're hitting a wall. They can't pass this wall because they don't know anything about this virus. They don't know what can counteract the virus. So they're at the wall. But when they find something that can kill this virus or some type of vaccine that can help us, you break through this wall. You have a new discovery that's a huge deal. It really helps humans or whatever you're working on. So that's a breakthrough. You break through the wall into new territory because you discovered something that you were taking a really long time to discover. This can happen as well with English. You can have a breakthrough. Like maybe, I'm sure this happens. This happens to me in Spanish, that you feel that you're just like this all the time. You're not progressing at all. And then finally, one day, there's this magical moment when you just understand something or it just clicks and you know everything that you didn't know before. And that's also a breakthrough. Okay? So what you guys are going to do is have a look at number 3. Okay? This one here. How important do you think it is for young people to be interested in science and technology, and why? Did you write your answer in your notebooks? I don't want to tell you my opinion because I don't want you to think that my opinion is the right one. But, well, I'll tell you, I think it's important, okay? I don't know about you, and I want you to tell me. So write in your notebooks a small paragraph, maybe a couple of lines about why you think it's important or not important, okay? So what we're going to do today is something a little bit different. We have a listening, and unfortunately, I left the CDs at school. So I'm going to read the listening, and I'm going to do my best to make it the same as the ones that we always do. I'm not going to read too slowly, though, because I don't feel like that's going to help you. So I'm going to read at a normal pace and see if you can understand me talking normally, okay? So before we do this exercise of the listening, okay, I want you guys to have a look at some of these numbers in number 4, okay? Is it easier to recognize numbers if you hear, is it easier to recognize numbers you hear if you are familiar with their pronunciation? That's not a question, okay? It is easier to recognize numbers you hear if you are familiar with their pronunciation. How are these numbers pronounced, okay? Please pause the video. You take a couple of minutes and pronounce these by yourself, and then I'll tell you the answers, okay? Also, in America, some of them may be different than in the UK. So just bear that in mind. If I know the UK version, I'll tell you it as well. So I imagine that you've paused the video now, and you unpaused the video now. We're going to do it together. The first one here is 31st, okay? 1989, 463, 3.55, 12th, 60%, 1/3, 12,300, 35 degrees, 22nd, 2015, and 3/4. Okay, so just so you're comfortable with how we pronounce the numbers, that's how we do them. You're going to hear some numbers in the listening, so it's quite useful. Okay, so you can have a look at the listening here. Okay, you've got 10 spaces, and I want you to listen when we do the exercise and write the correct answer in the spaces. Sorry, that's my son. He's very curious about what I'm doing. So you can write a number in the spaces if it requires a number, or you can write the word for a number. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you've understood. So how do we do this exam task? Well, you remember we've done this quite a few times in class. I want you to have a look at all of the different numbers and try to predict what type of word you're going to hear. Is it a noun? Is it plural or singular? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb? Is it a person? What kind of a noun is it? Is it a number? We don't know, okay? Can you have a look at the different spaces and think about which ones are going to have numbers? Pause the video and have a look, okay? Which spaces require numbers? And do you think that any of these are going to be adjectives, nouns, or adverbs, or verbs, okay? So now that you have paused the video and unpaused the video, let's have a look. It says, last year's winners of the National Science and Engineering Competition were both aged. So is that going to be a number? Yeah, because you're waiting to hear an age. Okay. The competition was first held in the year. You're going to hear a number as well. It's going to be a year. The bicycle at the Big Bang Fair was used to produce. Okay, so number 3 is not a number. It's going to be something. Produce something. A noun. Maybe electricity, energy. I don't know. Something like that. Number 4, the main aim or objective of the fair is to create interest in certain branches of science and engineering. So that's not a number either. That's just going to be maybe interest in science, interest in something. Number 5, about of the people attending the fair were young. So about, okay, that's going to be a number. About a percentage maybe, or a fraction. Number 6, a total of people took part in the competition. Yeah, you're going to hear a number in number 6 as well. A percentage, I don't know. Okay. Number 7, one project involved using a fuel extracted from to run a motor vehicle. It's going to be something. Extracted from something. Number 8, in the final of the competition, the judges listened to a fairly detailed of each entry. Yeah, it's going to be a noun again. Something. Maybe detailed report, detailed summary, something like that. Number 9, the judges assess the of the team or individual as well as their project. So number 9 is not going to be a number either. It's going to be a noun, maybe an abstract noun. Number 10, the date of the announcement of this year's winners is, it's going to be a date. So it's going to be a number as well. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to read the listening to you. I'm only going to read it once, okay, because in the video you need to go back and rewind and listen to it again. So you listen 2 times. I'm going to say it once, but you go back and listen 2 times, okay? So, ready? I'm going to read it at a normal speed and see how much you can understand. Ready? So, you will hear a journalist reporting on a prize for young scientists and engineers. For questions 1 to 10, complete the sentences. So this is Ryan, okay? This is Ryan talking, okay? The National Science and Engineering Competition is aimed at young scientists and engineers who have developed new ideas completely of their own. They may be school projects or something they've done as a hobby, and the winners are awarded prizes and named Young Scientist and Young Engineer of the Year. Anyone aged 18 or under can take part, although the science category was won by a 17-year-old last year, as was the engineering one. The competition covers every area of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and is intentionally broadly based so as to encourage as many young people as possible to enter. It's been going on for a few years now. In fact, it's been an annual event since 2009. Although it became much bigger in 2010 once more people became aware of it. And then the media started to take an interest in the Big Bang Fair, where the winners were announced. From that year on, there have been lectures by top speakers and shows put on by national television channels. The Big Bang Fair is a 3-day fair for school students interested in science and engineering, with lots of things to do like interactive science quizzes, games, and activities. For instance, one boy had set up a non-moving bicycle like those you find in the gym, and was pedaling away energetically. But this was about electricity rather than exercise, with a challenge to anyone present to generate more than he could, as measured by the attached equipment. Nobody managed to, at least while I was around. So they have a good time there, with plenty of fun things to do. But its real purpose is more serious, to promote careers in those subjects, especially where there is a national skills gap in particular areas. This is done in a wide range of ways, and a study into how this can be extended is currently being carried out by the Center for Science Education. The fair is becoming increasingly popular. The total number of people at the most recent one was over 22,500, of whom at least two-thirds, according to the figures I have, would have been of secondary school age, with teachers and parents making up rather less than a quarter between them. Over 110 public and private organizations from across the country were represented, and it was clear that everyone had a genuine desire to raise awareness of young people's achievements in science and technology. Naturally, the number of young people actually involved in the competition was smaller. They can enter it either as individuals or as part of a team, so that whereas in total 193 projects were presented, there were actually 312 competitors working in the fields of science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. And there were some great projects. In one I particularly liked, the team built quite complicated structures in the shape of road bridges entirely in chocolate. Most were surprisingly strong, though of course any that collapsed could simply be eaten. In another, a team managed to convert coffee into a gas that then became the source of energy for a car, successfully covering the 300 kilometers to the fair. Finding alternatives to petrol as a fuel was a common theme. Not surprisingly, with many entries aimed at reducing the amount of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. The final is being held at the Big Bang Fair, where the number of entries is reduced to a short list of 6. Neither individuals nor teams need to make a formal presentation to a big audience, but they are expected to be able to give a clear explanation, going into some detail about their project so that it can be properly assessed by the 5 judges. They may well be asked things about it too, partly to see how well they respond to questions. Although the quality of the work they do is the main thing, their communication skills are also taken into account, as the winners may have the chance to speak in public, including on TV, on behalf of young scientists and engineers. And that, not surprisingly, appeals to quite a lot of teenagers. Everyone's keen to know who's won this year, but it's quite a long process, and although all entries had to be in by October the 31st, we'll have to wait until nearly the spring to find out. It'll actually be on the first day of the next Big Bang Fair, which runs from March the 11th to the 13th. I'm sure that will be followed with a lot of interest. Okay, guys, so I read the listening. Go back and listen for a second time, okay? And when you're finished, come back to this point in the video, which I think is 22 minutes and 45 seconds, and we're going to continue in the book, okay? So we have done page 66. Now we're going to do page 67, which is about the grammar, okay? So when you're finished with the listening as well, please send that to me for homework too, okay? So on page 67, we're going to review some passive forms, okay? I'm sure you've heard about the passive before. We've done it a little bit in class as well. Underline the passive verbs in this extract from the recording in the listening and complete the rule below. This is done in a wide range of ways, and a study into how this can be extended is currently being carried out by the Center for Science Education, okay? The passive uses a form of the verb followed by the what? The passive uses a form of the verb to be followed by the past participle, okay? So you need the verb to be. It can be in any tense, okay? Plus the past participle. And sometimes you need to say by if it's important who did this action. The school, for example, was, so we need the verb to be in some form, past participle, painted this summer. It's not really important to say who because it's obvious that painters did it, but you could say by painters. Or if the company is important and you want to explain that the company did this, then you can say by, for example, so-and-so company of painters. Okay, so you always need to be and the past participle. So have a look in number 2. Okay, you have different sentences and they're in the active and you need to rewrite them in the passive. and then match them with the uses A to E. So you need to do number 2 for homework as well. So if you want, pause the video and do this now. And then when you unpause the video, we're going to do some more, okay? Have a look at number 3 on page 67. Which of these sentences written by exam candidates contain mistakes? Correct the mistakes. Okay, so there's 8 sentences. They are supposed to be in the passive. Some of them are probably not in the passive. And you need to decide which ones are incorrect and why. So that's homework as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, number 4. The last thing that we're going to do today is number 4. We're not going to do number 5 and 6 because we can do that in the next class on Thursday. So number 4 is homework as well for you guys. Replace the underlined active verbs with the passive forms, used by only where necessary. So again, it's helping you to practice the passive, and you have these sentences in the active and you need to make them passive. I'll help you with number 1. For example, when you warm a meal up in a microwave oven. So when a meal is warmed up in a microwave oven, that would be the transformation. You need to make it passive by using the verb to be plus the past participle of that verb. Okay? You need to do that for all of the numbers until number 10 in this exercise. Okay? And as I said, don't worry about 5 and 6. We'll do them on Thursday. Okay? So this is the end of our video for today. If you have any questions, please ask me. And yeah, don't hesitate to ask me anything. I'm always gonna write back to you guys as soon as I can. Okay? So I hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Bye!